and welcome to the Build and Exit podcast with Julie Wilkinson. I'm the founder of Wilkinson Accounting Solutions, and we specialise in accounting and consultancy, helping businesses with acquisitions and exit strategy planning. So today we have Leanne Dawson. I'm really excited to have her as a guest. Thanks for coming, Leanne. Leanne has almost 2 decades of experience working in financial services. So one of the things we're going to be looking at today is brokerage and funding, especially for the acquisition route. Leanne actually had her own business, set up her first business in 2009, which she successfully sold, and now owns a brokerage commercial finance company and helped over 50 people in 2022 access successful funding. So thanks for coming, Leanne. Over to you if you'd like to tell us a little bit about your background and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I always love these things. So as Julie said, so I've been in finance now for just short of 20 years. I don't know where they've actually gone. Started off in retail banking. So sort of did, when you walk into a branch and you see someone as a cashier, so that was my sort of starting point. And then moved on quickly into financial advice. So by the time I was 21, I was a qualified financial advisor. So that was really good and interesting. So carried on doing that, did it a little bit in Spain. And basically sort of recession hit. So I think we'll all remember sort of 2008 and the recession. So let me tell you, it's not a great time to be a financial advisor, especially when you're overseas doing it as well at that point. So when I came back, I had sort of a reassess of like a career focus really in terms of what I enjoyed and what I didn't like. And I had children at the time as well. So I went back to university because I wanted to know more about business. I'd always had like an understanding, inclination, desire to learn anything about business. And some family members, they had their own businesses as well. My dad did. So it was sort of just understanding the desire to do that. But also, I think any business owner, there's that risk level because you're no longer paid, are you? There's no salary there. There's no anything else. So there's that sort of jumping point of being able to do it. So when I went to university, and it feels so long ago now, and that's when I set up the business, Julie. So because I had children at the time, you obviously have a mortgage to pay. I wanted to go study and I was making the decision to do that. But at the same time, I had bills to pay and whatever else. So I went to a franchise exhibition actually for inspiration because I think I was like a year into my degree. And obviously thought I knew everything about business and was ready to run one, which you need a little bit more than that. So went and I had a look at gross profit margin. So it was more about not desire of what business I wanted long term, but a business in terms of what could give me the funding and lifestyle I needed to fund my degree. And something that I could do. So I ended up having a teeth whitening business, which completely different to what I do now. And I'm not into beauty at all as well, but I am very meticulous with what I do. And it was a business. Now, I'd say that I learned more from that than any form of education or any training I'd done at the bank previously. Because what I didn't envisage is when you set up a business is you've got all the sales and marketing function, you've got all the back office, all the literature, everything you've got to put in place to make it a success. So with that, I also think there's a bit of luck as well. So I entered at a time which was the peak time for that sector. It was really good. So the price point was really high. There wasn't as much competition because it was just that edge before there's a lot of competition. So I do attribute a lot of it to luck as well. And then also a niche. So rather than just so I can go mobile and do sort of beauty services, I ended up going to stores and I ended up with 4 stores in the end. And then I also ended up with a special agent in Asian weddings as well. So we had a big growth on that. So I carried on. That allowed me to pay my bills, study full time for my business degree, and basically fund my degree. So I left my degree with it paid off through that business that was set up. And then I still had this inclination that I wanted to join and grow from a corporate ladder, rather than I thought that was the way of success as well. So I joined RBS and in commercial banking, and it was sort of a step back. So I'd been a financial advisor before, owned my business before, and then I started at the bottom run ladder because I didn't know anything about asset-based lending. So you have to. And I'm always one for that. You learn from the bottom and work your way up, which I think you should do. So, God, it'll be 11 years ago now. So when I was doing that, I carried on with running my own business as well. And that lasted probably about 18 months. And then I had people running it for me at that time.
Was this the teeth whitening business?
Yeah. So we were still running the shops. We was doing really well, still doing the weddings. But what I was doing was working in the day, then spending the evenings and over like early hours working, doing that as well. So I got an offer. So again, I didn't know what I was doing. I got an offer to sort of to sell it. So we had the negotiations, had a look through, and yeah, it was the right time. I was following the sector as well, and the legislation was changing, and it was becoming more difficult. There was also the barriers to entry are really low, so the price point had changed. So if I give you an inclination, so when I started doing it, it was £400 a session. At the end, people was doing it for £80.
So this was the business you eventually sold. It was the teeth whitening business, yes. The business you sold in 2012. So what method
yes.
of sale did that go through?
Well, I didn't really think anything. We just went to the solicitor. So because I got offered, it was someone who works for me. So it's more like an MBO type of thing, really, if it had been a much larger business. So they put an offer in. It was more than reasonable. And to be fair as well, she was running the day-to-day now.
Okay. The manager of the business bought it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yes, so we got solicitors involved, sorted out the SPA, and it was all simple. To be honest, I didn't think anything of it. It was just something, a stage of my life that I did, learned loads from it, and I was at the next stage then of going into asset-based lending. Now, I love working with businesses, with business owners. That was where I'd say the last 11 years, I've just enjoyed all of it. I really am. I'm naturally really nosy, which I think helps. So that when you go and speak to someone, I really do love to listen about what they're doing. So where they've come from, where they want to go, and how can we help them? So yeah, the last 11 years worked through different posts to high street banks, independent channel, but I always knew that I wanted to set up a commercial finance brokerage.
Oh, brilliant.
So that was sort of, it was getting ready for this. And I'd say that a lot of female business owners, one, we struggle to take on debt. And second, we also, one of the things is imposter syndrome. And you always think you need to know. So if someone needs to know an answer, I'd need to know that I know 120% of that answer to give it to them.
Yeah.
So I probably spent too long prepping and getting ready to do it. So I could have set up Mills Commercial Finance a couple of years ago really easily. But there was that thing of leaving full-time salary, and I went over to a company called Newable as well to set up a brokerage for them. That was on an exit basis. I was only ever in there to grow the business and exit. I was never staying in.
Okay.
But what it did was sort of give me the thing of like that stepping stone of learning.
Yeah. So in the brokerage company now then, so you did these 50 deals in 2022.
Yes.
So, this station looks a lot at acquisitions and exit strategy planning. So if someone is coming to you as a brokerage company and looking to do an acquisition and wants funding, what is the typical thing that you're asking them to give you?
So basically, I need to know about them as individuals. So obviously the financial information is one part of it, but I need to know about them. So I need to know about why that acquisition, what's their background, is the background in that sector? If it's not, why are they acquiring that business? Then there's also having a look in terms of why are they acquiring? Is it because the building is just... It's an MBO, and basically the opportunities there to take over, and it's probably just going to be that one business, and that's going to be their lifestyle? Or is it sort of looking more like MBI type strategies or a buy and build strategy? So I have a look at them and to understand them and understand their goals about what they want. So that's sort of the first stage really of going through there. Then the second stage is then obviously the numbers. So generally what happens is they'll have gone to market and they'll have found a business they like to acquire. So they'll have their advisors as well that are working with them. At that point, they'll have the IM that they can send over to me as well. So we'll have a look, and what they'll do, they'll produce the IM, last 3-year accounts. We'll have a look at the asset schedule as well to have a look what's there. And then at the first point, they won't have the forecast or anything because this will be very early stage. So they'll give me the details, and then they'll sort of say, right, from this, what do you think we can raise to then go ahead to heads of terms? So we work with them more like a relationship sort of thing of how we can help.
Oh, brilliant. So what do you find is a common, do you find that people that are coming to you are prepared, or do you think a lot of people don't really understand sort of the funding process in general? What's your view on it?
Very rarely prepared.
Right.
Especially if it's the first acquisition. If it's the first acquisition, very rarely prepared. Once we've done 2 or 3 of them, they then also built the team around them, because that's what's important as well. Have they got the right CF arm? Have they got, if it's their accountant doing the work for them as well, advising them, have they got the right legal team? They won't have that when they first join that first acquisition early stage. They probably just, some of it's opportunistic.
Yeah.
It's someone that they've worked for or used to work for years ago, and they know the sector, and they've come back in and they've got this opportunity. So there's an education piece, because generally I also need to understand the deal structure. And that's where it sort of falls down, because a lot of the time early stage, they won't know it. And with some of them we get involved with, they're so early that they've never done it before, and they don't even know that deferred consideration is an option.
Yeah.
So they believe that, okay, it's valued at £1 million. I've got to give them £1 million on day one. They don't know the options that are available to structure the deal.
Yeah, but from our conversations, because obviously we've spoken to before, I mean, that's one of the things that you do, isn't it? I suppose maybe over and above some other finance brokers, is you actually help them with the strategy of the funding. So do you help people do you talk through those sorts of deal structures and things as part of the financing?
Yes, yeah. It's not my place to structure them. It's my place to give them the advice of what options are available. And then part of what I do is, it's like us, Julie, it's relationship building with other professionals where we've got our own professionalism. I focus on funding. I do not prepare accounts. I do not prepare forecasts or do any modelling. That is, it's outsourced to someone else. It's having that right team. What I do is show them what's available in the market. And the same with like a lot of the advisors I work with, they're great at that, but they can't possibly know every single lender in the market because they're busy looking after the clients. So I feel really sorry, like, for a lot of owners. There's so much out there. It's impossible for one person to sort of do all of it. And when you do try and do all of it, that's where you fall down as well.
Yeah. So if you were going to give advice to someone looking to do their first acquisition, what do you think would be the key things they need in place before they try to get the funding?
They need to understand that the deal works, so that they need to understand and have maybe an accountant to have a look if they're not good at the numbers, to understand what that business looked like. Because on accounts, it may look like it's profitable. It doesn't mean it's making money. Cash flow is a very different thing. So I'd say sort of focus on that. A lot of the inquiries we're getting in at the moment, Julie, are 100% debt raise. And I think that most finance brokers, if they watch this, they'll have had probably 10 applications each week across their desk of 100% debt raise for acquisitions. Some deals just don't work. And if you've not got any skin in the game, as they say it, then you can't expect certain lenders to do it. So if it's going to be a cash flow loan, they need to have something in it. The 100% debt raise tends to be on your sort of your ABL, asset-based lending type of deals that you can do in structure. So if it's that deal, what they need to have a look at is make sure they've got the asset schedule with them as well. So even off the balance sheet, we can ask more questions to understand what they need.
Yeah.
But I'd say just understanding why they're doing it and make sure they've got information, and try not to get too giddy and try to keep it down, because a lot get pressured as well to sort of, it's got to happen. If I don't get to heads of terms, but in this set time period, the sale's not going to happen. There's other parties. A lot of the time there's not other parties, or they're at the same stage you are. Everyone's doing the due diligence, and that's the most important part.
Yeah, it's interesting you say, isn't it, about the 100% loan, because it's like trying to go and get a mortgage and get a 100% mortgage. It just wouldn't happen. What's your take on, so obviously we see a lot of acquisitions through Wilkinson's, and I think there's a lot of these courses out there these days advertising no money down deals, you can do it. And I think a lot of it, have you seen that in the market? I mean, what's your view on these types of propositions to people?
Yeah, I'll try and keep this clean and won't swear, which I'm known for. The courses. It's the new fad. Everyone is selling a course. Honestly, if you was, I've not found one good one yet, and I think we'll all know there's a very prolific person on LinkedIn that actually shows some of these courses and get rich courses, and shows them for what they are. You have to know your stuff. It's not that easy. Do you know, anyone who's selling you a dream of, oh yeah, it's fine, do you know, go in there, we'll sort the finance out for you, you can have a business. You've got people coming where they're not a homeowner, they're not from the sector, they've got no value add, and they wouldn't know how to run the business, yet they go on one of these courses and then all of a sudden they feel that they can rule the world. And that's good, like enthusiasm's really good. But yeah, there's also realism. I can't say it a nicer way really without sort of going in and swearing.
No. I have exactly the same feeling, because what I find a lot with these people advertising these no money down deals, what I want to know is they're not with them 9 months down the line when they're struggling with the cash flow, which is the types of things we see after the deal goes live and they start struggling with the cash. So then just break out. So in terms of different types of financing, in sort of a simple term, if you can, what do you think are the different types of financing for different types of business that you would like potentially recommend or help people with?
Yeah, so my business is, I'm a cash flow specialist. That's the easiest way to say it. So I help trading businesses with cash flow. So when we look at the products then, so that ends up coming in a multitude of products. Your main one is your invoice finance for your working capital. So that reputation was frowned upon. It works great in growing businesses because it allows you to grow it and you can take on tenders and contracts knowing that you've got the finance in place to maintain them, as long as you keep a cap on the headroom. Asset finance. So I've seen more of that since the beginning of this year. So refinance. So what we're doing is we're refinancing the assets and putting them over 5 or 6 years, putting cash back into the business and then lowering their outgoings. So we've seen a lot of that. Bridging and revolving credit facilities have been very popular. So I think on revolving credit facilities, we've been doing about 4 each month. Now, what they are is basically because the banks have pulled the overdrafts, which they did years ago, and then you haven't got many options of funding. So it allows you, it's basically an overdraft but secured. That's the easiest way of saying it. So if they've got any tangible security, then what we can do is we can put like a pot of money that's there that can be dipped in and out of when they need it. So then it's not like a loan. So they're not having to service it each month. So they haven't got that figure that they've got to find every month if they've got any seasonality. We obviously do a lot of unsecured loans and secured loans, and we're still one of the brokerages as well that are still doing the recovery loan scheme. Now, most of the ones that I speak to aren't actually doing many, and it's not been a success. It's not as easy to write, and I always say to my clients, why do you want it? Because there's only certain benefits of it now. It's mainly because the interest rate's capped at 14.9, whereas your loans at the moment, some of them have increased to exponential rates, and you can get money over 6 years. So we are doing those as well. So we do the advice. They're more advisory because you have to do a full application, analysing the accounts and a business plan to put forward for them. But we're still doing those as well. Basically anything secured, anything that puts cash back in.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Yeah. And you've done a lot of deals, obviously. So 2022 was a good year for you. So in terms of your other business then, because I know you've got quite a bit in the future, I mean, you're launching into a few new businesses, aren't you, yourself? So to give us a bit of a background about, I just love a bit of entrepreneurial spirit. I think it's good for business owners just to see how other people are doing things and what's enticing them and how they're moving into it. So tell us a little bit about these other ventures you're going into.
Yeah, so I don't tend to advertise these on LinkedIn. I tend to just keep it to the finance brokerage for this. So I have my own strategy. So that's why I think that I can work with people who are looking to acquire businesses, because it's something that we're looking at getting involved in myself. So there's basically trading businesses. So we're looking at a portfolio of trading businesses that will be built over a 3 to 5 year and an exit for sale. So we're working on now in terms of the sectors of what we'll go into, and there's a number of them that are already trading, so they should be live over the next couple of months. So then what I'll do is go in as a director and shareholder of those. I've also got the cleaning business as well, which are parts one side because I've been a little bit busy. So what that does, it's all domestic cleaning, but we've not been able to get it scaled. And this is the thing, we've got successes and we've got failures. So this is one of them that I'd say has been taking a bit of time up, and it's been moving from domestic to commercial. And that has been a struggle, and it shouldn't be, because there's loads of commercial work, but the problem is staffing. I can't get the number of staffing I need to make sure I don't let down the contracts, and I can't make sure they're going to turn up. You can try recruitment advisors. So we're looking at different things. So there's that as well, which hopefully we push, that should scale over the next 18 months. But they all take focus. And the final one is, again, going back into beauty as well. So into clinics. So investing like Botox clinics as well on the training side. So I have a few things that I'm involved in, and it's taking the right opportunities, Julie. It's always the same of what's right. A lot of the time, if I'm going in with someone, if it's something of a more longer term strategy, I'll go in as a consultant first to understand the business and then see what value I can add. If I can't add any value, there's no point in me being in there.
Yeah.
So, but again, on those, it's the right team. The trading businesses, I'll oversee them. I won't be in running them day to day. You have to have the right leadership team in situ to run them. Otherwise, they don't work. So if you haven't got that, and you haven't got time to be in there all the time, which obviously you don't have, you can quite easily get it wrong. So it's making sure that you're always assessing the levels of risk on each opportunity.
Oh my God, you have literally just re-said my LinkedIn post today. I bet you've been stalking me today. No, I'm only joking. You have to go and have a look at it. You literally, those words are just like replicated what I put on LinkedIn today. That is just hilarious. So you're obviously rolling up a few different companies and doing your own thing. I mean, so I think for women in business specifically, especially in the acquisition, I know I'm in the acquisition industry, and I would probably say 98%, well, 95% I'd say now of people we work with is probably still men. So I think it's interesting. That's why I like having female guests as well, because I think it's really inspirational, especially for women. But I suppose you're doing all these things. What is your own personal end goal? Are you happy to share? Have you got someone in mind?
Yeah, I've got loads of kids. Just feed them. No, I'm kidding. No, the end goal is basically to be financially capable. So the children are getting older, which I'm getting older. So each one of them has a different end goal. So the commercial finance brokerage is ideal. So we'll grow it, and we'll grow it to a point where it would be sellable in 3 to 5 years, but we won't sell. It's not there to sell, it's there to continue and to carry on growing. The investment side on the businesses, they're all exit, every one of them. Some of them will group on a larger exit, so then we'll try and get it to a certain multiple of EBITDA now. Some of the other ones, they're more like just getting involved of a lifestyle where I might end up as a non-exec. But ultimately, the key is to work incredibly bloody hard over the next 5 years, and then be able to then wind it back in. So the businesses will have had them to a certain point, but then they won't need me in them as much. So then I can spend some time Traveling, I don't know yet because it's still there. But I'll have more free time. Probably the only free time since I was about 20 years old. So it's all here now, just to be financially cute.
Yeah. No, it sounds brilliant. Such, and these opportunities. Then, I mean, interestingly, like, how do they come about? Do you actively go out and seek them, or have people asked you?
I've not gone out and sought any of them.
They've come to you, have they, directly?
Through reputation. So usually they might have been advised to speak to me from their accountant or the business consultant, or it may be, a lot of it tends to be where I've worked with a business previously. So then they'll talk to someone else, and then, it snowballs from there. But I've not, that's what I mean. A lot of it is hard work has gone in over a long time to get to the knowledge. I do know a little bit. I'm quite dizzy sometimes, but I do know a little bit. So there's that. But then it's luck as well, I think. So I do feel like I've worked really hard. So whether some people say that creates luck as well, but I do think, I have been lucky as well to bump into the right people, meet the right people, going out and stuff like that, to then build a reputation.
Yeah. Well, selling a business, working in brokerage, and now doing all these investments, you've definitely going to be a go-to person. So I'm glad that I've stolen you on the podcast first, to be honest. So my new channel. So, well, thanks so much for coming on. So what is next for you then over the next sort of 12 months? What's your focus?
The focus is to basically, the finance brokerage needs to be the main focus. So the investments, they'll be sorted. So the next couple of months, they'll be done. The focus is streamlining. So my processes still aren't where they need to be. I've obviously got people that work for me. I've got some more people that I'd like to hire in June, but I can't hire them until it's not all in here, as my coach says, and it's written down in processes and structure to allow that. So that's my focus for this year, is to make it feel more like a business on the finance brokerage, rather than most people who know me are just usually like, it's me just running around, so it's structure, and that's my number one. We're very lucky the inquiries come in. We're very lucky our introducers love us. So we don't have to worry about work, if that makes sense. Our concern is handling them at the best quality we can and not letting people down. So that's where we need some of our CRM system sorting and some of our documentation sorting out, so it's an easier process. So the revenue will come anyway. It's now really time to focus on the back of the underneath of that building up the business before it all comes tumbling down.
Yeah, I've been there too. That's what we're focusing on in our business at the minute. Now we've just closed our acquisition last week. We're getting all the systems and everything set up. So if people need to contact you then about brokerage, or talking about acquisition in general, where can they find you? What's the best place for them to find you?
So the easiest place to find me is on LinkedIn, Leanne Dawson. You'll find the one with extremely long LinkedIn posts, as I keep being told. And my email address is leanne@millscommercialfinance.co.uk.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Leanne. And
no, you're welcome.
I am looking forward to the viewers seeing our second Build and Exit podcast, as we're just launching over the next couple of weeks. So thanks so much. And we've got lots coming up on our channel soon. So subscribers, keep subscribing to see more of this type of podcasts.